Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Young and the Restless channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit like for more daily drama updates and spoilers. Your support truly means a lot and helps our channel grow every day. Friday's episode of The Young and the Restless is set to bring a wave of tension, emotional uncertainty, and complicated confrontations, with Lily Winters and Kane Ashby finding themselves caught in conflict because of Billy Abbott. At the same time, Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman will be forced to confront a difficult piece of their shared history, opening the door to feelings and memories they may have hoped were finally buried. The drama begins with Billy, whose latest discovery could have consequences far beyond anything he initially expected. For years, the Abbott family has lived with the knowledge that John Abbott once stepped in and helped save Chancellor from financial collapse, but now Billy has uncovered paperwork suggesting that the debt may never have been repaid. What initially looks like an old financial matter could suddenly become a major threat to Kane and Lily's future, especially if the documents prove that the Abbott family still has a legitimate claim to Chancellor. Decades ago, John Abbott helped pull Chancellor back from the edge of bankruptcy, but the agreement he made was far more significant than anyone might have realized. According to the paperwork Billy has uncovered, John's deal stipulated that if his money was not returned within 20 years, the Abbott family would have the right to own Chancellor outright. The shocking part is that there appears to be no clear indication that the debt was ever actually paid, leaving Billy with a discovery that could potentially change the balance of power completely. Now the question is whether Billy will immediately tell Kane and Lily what he has found or keep them in the dark while he investigates further. Billy may decide that he needs to get all his ducks in a row and obtain undeniable confirmation before revealing something this explosive, but that cautious approach could quickly disappear if his impulsive side takes control. Either way, the secret is already beginning to cast a shadow over the people closest to him, and Billy's obsession with uncovering the truth could become impossible to contain. Whether Billy carefully holds back the information or impulsively blurts out what he has discovered, trouble is coming for Lily and Kane. Even if they do not learn the full details of Billy's discovery right away, his latest obsession is still expected to create a divide between them on Friday's episode. Lily and Kane are already heading toward a confrontation, and the pressure surrounding Chancellor could make their disagreement even more intense. For Kane, the stakes are deeply personal because there is nothing he wants more than to rebuild the life he once had with Lily and become a family with her and the twins again. After everything they have endured, the possibility of finally putting their fractured past behind them has given Kane something to fight for, making any new setback feel especially devastating. If Billy's discovery begins threatening the future Kane has been trying so desperately to rebuild, he may start wondering whether he and Lily can truly survive another obstacle standing between them. What was supposed to be a hopeful new chapter could suddenly feel fragile, leaving Kane deeply uneasy about where their relationship is headed. While Lily and Kane struggle with their own emotional storm, Nikki Newman will be fighting a very different battle behind a carefully controlled exterior. Nikki is determined to put on a brave face and make everyone believe that she is holding everything together, even as her worries about Nick Newman continue weighing heavily on her. She may try to appear strong, composed, and completely in control, but the people who know her best may be able to see the fear hiding underneath that polished exterior. Friday could bring Nikki into an unexpected run-in with Diane Jenkins, or possibly someone else connected to the ongoing family drama, forcing her to navigate another difficult situation while keeping her emotions under control. The more Nikki tries to conceal what she is truly feeling, the harder it may become to maintain that confident image. And if Jack Abbott happens to cross paths with her, he may immediately recognize that something is wrong and realize that Nikki is not doing nearly as well as she wants everyone to believe. Jack could become the person who refuses to let Nikki hide behind her usual strength. If he senses that she is struggling, he may encourage her to stop pretending that everything is fine and finally be honest about the turmoil surrounding her family. For someone like Nikki, Admitting that she is frightened or overwhelmed is never easy, especially when so much is happening at once, and she feels responsible for keeping everyone else together. Yet Jack's presence could give her an opportunity to finally let some of that emotional weight come to the surface. Beneath Nikki's confident appearance is a woman carrying serious concerns about the people she loves, and Friday's episode may reveal just how difficult it has become for her to keep those fears hidden. As the drama surrounding Nick continues to consume her thoughts, Nikki may find herself reaching a point where pretending to be strong is no longer enough. Meanwhile, another emotional confrontation will be unfolding between Adam and Chelsea as the former couple turns their attention toward a complicated part of their shared past. Chelsea and Adam will have an important discussion that could bring unresolved feelings rushing back to the surface, creating tension neither of them can easily ignore. Their relationship has been shaped by mistakes, complicated choices, painful memories, and moments when their connection seemed impossible to escape, so revisiting their history could open wounds they thought had already healed. On Friday, the two will address a buried issue, and the big question will be exactly which part of their past they are finally ready to confront. It could involve Sally Spectra, Reza Thompson, or even something that happened much further back in their complicated history together. Whatever the subject may be, the conversation is expected to force both Adam and Chelsea to look honestly at emotions they may have tried to push aside. As they work through the issue, Adam and Chelsea may discover that some feelings are far more complicated than either one wants to admit. The past has a way of resurfacing when people least expect it, and for these two, even a simple conversation can quickly become emotionally charged when old memories and unresolved questions enter the room. Chelsea may have her own reasons for wanting certain parts of their history left behind, while Adam could find himself confronting consequences from choices he made long ago. Their discussion will not necessarily erase the problems between them, but it could give both of them a chance to finally acknowledge what has been left unsaid. The tension may rise as they try to separate their history from the complicated emotions that still linger beneath the surface. And by the time their conversation comes to an end, neither Adam nor Chelsea may be able to look at their past in quite the same way. With Billy's discovery threatening to create fresh conflict for Lily and Kane, Nikki struggling to keep her fears hidden, and Adam and Chelsea confronting an issue they have carried for far too long, Friday's episode promises to be filled with emotional pressure from beginning to end. Billy's search for the truth could have consequences for the Abbott family and Chancellor, while Lily and Kane may find their hopes for a reunited family tested yet again. Nikki will continue trying to stand tall, despite the worries surrounding Nick, even as those closest to her begin to see through the brave face she is putting on. And for Adam and Chelsea, revisiting their history could force them to deal with complex feelings that refuse to stay buried. As all these storylines collide, the emotional stakes will continue rising, leaving Genoa City residents to wonder whether these relationships can survive the secrets, discoveries, and painful memories waiting just beneath the surface. As the tension surrounding Chancellor continues to build, Billy Abbott may find himself caught between the excitement of discovering a potentially life-changing truth and the consequences that truth could unleash. The possibility that John Abbott's old agreement could give the Abbott family control of Chancellor is not something Billy can simply ignore, especially when the paperwork appears to support such a dramatic claim. Yet, revealing the information too soon could create chaos before Billy has the opportunity to understand exactly what it means. That uncertainty may explain why he hesitates, weighing the consequences of telling Kane and Lily against the possibility that keeping quiet could be just as damaging. Every moment Billy spends investigating the agreement only gives the secret more power, because the longer he holds it close, the more emotionally charged the eventual revelation could become. What begins as Billy trying to protect the truth until he knows more could ultimately look like another betrayal to the people already struggling with trust. For Kane and Lily, the emotional impact may arrive before they even understand what is truly happening behind the scenes. Their relationship has already been through enough uncertainty, and just when Kane is hoping to rebuild something stable with Lily and reconnect with the twins as a family, another obstacle is appearing on the horizon. Kane may sense that something is changing around them without knowing exactly where the threat is coming from, leaving him frustrated and increasingly uneasy. Lily, meanwhile, may have her own concerns about what Kane wants and whether the future they are imagining can actually become reality. If Billy's actions begin influencing their decisions, even indirectly, the smallest disagreement could grow into a much larger conflict. The painful irony is that Kane wants to bring his family closer together, yet forces outside their relationship may once again push them in opposite directions. The situation could become even more complicated if Billy decides that the best course of action is to act first and explain later. His impulsive nature has always had the potential to turn a complicated situation into something far more explosive, and this discovery may be exactly the kind of temptation he struggles to resist. If he approaches Kane or Lily with even part of what he has learned, he could immediately change the atmosphere between them. Suddenly, questions about Chancellor would become questions about loyalty, ambition, ownership, and whether anyone can be trusted to protect the future they have worked so hard to build. Kane could feel as though everything he has been fighting for is being threatened once again, while Lily may be forced to decide where her priorities truly lie. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Billy may realize that uncovering the truth was much easier than dealing with what happens after the truth is revealed. While that conflict continues developing, Nikki Newman will be carrying an entirely different kind of emotional burden. She may walk through Genoa City with the confidence and determination everyone expects from her, but underneath that strength is a mother deeply worried about Nick and the circumstances surrounding him. Nikki has spent much of her life learning how to remain composed when everything around her is falling apart, but even she has limits. Her decision to pretend that everything is fine could be less about convincing other people and more about convincing herself that she can still control the situation. A possible encounter with Diane Jenkins could make that difficult, especially if Diane manages to push the exact emotional buttons Nikki is trying to keep hidden. Even a seemingly ordinary conversation could become a tense reminder of everything Nikki is desperately trying not to think about. If Jack Abbott crosses Nikki's path, however, the dynamic could change completely. Jack knows Nikki well enough to recognize when her confidence is only a carefully constructed shield, and he may not be willing to simply accept her claim that she is fine. He could encourage her to stop carrying the weight of her family's problems alone and finally admit how frightened or overwhelmed she has become. For Nikki, opening up may feel like surrender, but Jack could remind her that acknowledging pain does not make her weak. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one who finally admits that they need someone to listen. If Nikki allows herself that moment of honesty, it could provide a rare emotional release after everything she has been carrying. At the same time, Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson will find themselves confronting a past neither one can completely escape. Their conversation could begin quietly, perhaps with the intention of resolving one specific issue, but the emotional history between them makes it almost impossible for the discussion to remain simple. Every old decision carries another memory, and every memory may raise another question about what went wrong between them. Chelsea may wonder whether Adam truly understands the impact of his past choices, while Adam could be forced to confront feelings he has avoided acknowledging. The mention of Sally Spectra, Reza Thompson, or another event from further back could bring an entirely new layer to their conversation. Whatever buried issue they choose to address, it has clearly remained important enough to resurface now. The real tension will come from what Adam and Chelsea discover about themselves while attempting to work through the past. They may enter the conversation believing they already understand what happened, only to realize that each of them remembers certain moments differently. Old hurt can change with time, but it does not always disappear, and unresolved feelings have a way of returning when circumstances create the right pressure. Chelsea may want closure, while Adam could want understanding, and those two goals are not necessarily the same. Their discussion could therefore become an emotional test of whether they are genuinely capable of moving forward without allowing their history to control them. Even if they do not reach a perfect resolution, acknowledging the buried issue could be an important step toward understanding why certain wounds still remain. And as Friday's drama moves toward its emotional peak, all three storylines will continue creating uncertainty about what comes next. Billy's discovery could threaten to change the future of Chancellor and put further pressure on Kane and Lily at precisely the wrong moment. Nikki may continue hiding her fears behind a brave expression, but the people closest to her could make it increasingly difficult for her to keep pretending that nothing is wrong. Meanwhile, Adam and Chelsea will be left to deal with the emotional consequences of opening a door to their shared past that may have been closed for a reason. None of these characters can control what has already happened, but each of them now has to decide what they are willing to do with the truth. As secrets surface, relationships are tested, and old emotions return, Genoa City once again becomes a place where one discovery, one confrontation, or one honest conversation can change everything.